we can move for the next important fact that we need to discuss now. After learning this ID selector, class selector, tag selector, right? Who will get the priority? Now we have a question in there, right? So for a specific HTML element, if you apply the tag selector, class selector, and the ID selector, all the three selections, who will get more priority? Who will get the less priority? So that is somewhat a question that we need to understand how it works, right? So for that, I will use, we'll use another list, right? So this time I'll go with the UL tag, right? And then we'll say this is it says some fruit names, apple, yes, we have banana, right? So likewise, 3 items we have applied on there, right? So now right, so we'll say that I have a tag selection, right? Li selector. Now in here, now we have issue like this li will pick this one as well as this one, no? So all will get selected, and then yeah, so that is something will going to be affected, no? So when I put li, all these 5 li tags will, sorry, not 5, 7 li tags will get affected, right? But that's fine, we only focus on this second unordered list, no? Right? So we'll say I'm going to propose a background color, right? So we'll say this is the background color is red, right? So if I refresh the page, I would be able to see that all here will got the red color, right? Even here also we see that it got the red color. Those who are not having the class with that text color, highlight color, all are turned into red, right? So now here all the li tags will get the background color of red. Clear? Now what I do is I'll put another class, right? So this class will say red, sorry, green. And what it does, it also change in the background color to green. Okay, so what I do is now I will be placing under the apple li, right? So the class that is green. Now what happens there? So we actually style the same li, same element by using the tag selector as well as from the class selector, right? So someone can argue like this. Okay, so this is what happens. Here we have, like, we need to observe the cascading behavior where it has starting from top to bottom. So the first li that this li tag selector, which will be turn it into red, and after that it goes to the green color, which is the class selector, and then final applied color was green, so therefore the green will be remained as the final background color. The selection type or the selector type has to be in the same. Is it same here? It's different. So this is a tag selector and this is a class selector. So the cascading style, cascading behavior, you can't explain in that case, right? So even if you go with that explanation, we can break it. If I put it on top like this. So now the last one which was applied is red. So if I go and refresh the page, I will still see the red color. So that means this is the cascading behavior is override when you are having a different selectors joining, styling the same element. So in that case, we need to check the priority, right? So I will do I will apply the last one, that is the ID selector, right? So I will use this ID and say this is blue. The ID name is blue. And then I'll put the background color. This one. Now what happens? I'll go here and then put the ID and then mention blue. Now this same element will apply the li class and the ID, right? So both are applied there. So now who will get applied? You can see now that the green color also override, and now we can see the blue color, right? Again, if you think about the cascading behavior, no, I can simply put it on the top. So then still the red color should be there, and still I can see it applies the blue color. So now I think you got the priority as well, no? The ID has the highest priority, which we can label like with a number, right? Kind of a scorecard, right? Which is having 100 scorecard. And then for the tag selector, you can put scorecard of 10. Sorry, not the tag, class. And for the tag selector, we can put the scorecard of 1, right? So it's basically like a weight, right? So the lowest priority goes to the one which was having the tag, and the highest priority goes for the ID which is having 100, and the middle of that is the class which is having 10. Clear? So because of that, if you try to apply the ID, it basically override all the class and tag styles, and ID will get the highest priority, right? Why we need this class and ID, this priority? What's the reason behind there? This is the reason, because sometimes even like, for example, here we thought about just adding the same styles, right? Thinking about applying the same style. So if we just want to override this green rather than removing it, right? So without removing this, I want to override the color, right? Then you will ask why I can't remove this class. Yes, sir, you can remove it, but we'll say that with this green class, you added some more styles. If you remove that class, what happens? All that other styles that you want to be affected to the Apple li will be gone out. So that means you need to keep that class. It should be there, but you need to override only the background color, right? You need to override only the background color. So then the option is one option, I would say. There are multiple other options. So the one option is you can use the ID and do it. So you know that because the class will definitely override by the ID that you applied. Is that clear? The real scenario is like that. So you need to keep the class, but at the end you need to change a slide style of the class that applied. You can't remove the whole class because other style should be there. So then you need to override the color, what you need to be changed, so you can apply the ID. So if I like give you some a standard way that we followed, since we have these three understood right now, we try our best to get the style done from the tag selector or the class selector, right? One of that will be going like using one of these or both. We try to do it. We normally don't use the ID, right? So this is a common issue that most of the students were doing, because of like they know these three options were there, right? What they do is, since they can't remember like for what purpose we use it, what they do is every time they use the ID, right? They go with the ID, they ignore these two selections, they go with the ID and then do the changes. What's the issue there? The issue is, if you had this similar case in here, right, and in that case you have made it from the ID, right, now you want to override that. Is there any possibility that you can override that style? No, because you have moved on to the highest priority one level and then applied. So there's no further change it. Either you need to remove that ID and write a new ID and put it with the all styles, right? So that's be the option, I would say, right? So therefore, don't always go for the ID, right? Don't go for the ID. Always try to stick from the class or the tag selection, right? If there's a situation that there's no choice, that you need to override it and there's no option that you find out how to do it, then only use the ID. Otherwise, don't use it. If you use it and if you are going to override that, there's no option to do it because you are in the highest priority. There's no another one which is priority higher than the ID selector. Is that clear? So therefore, always make sure to go with the tag selector or the class selector. Don't use the ID selector. Most important selectors we have. There are some other combinators. I don't say those are the selecting types. Those are combinators which use the ID tag and the class selector and then developed, right? So using that, we can go for these combinators, right? So we'll look at that in the next week, right? So far I hope like everyone got the clear picture what are the types of selectors we have and what is this cascading behavior and what is the priority when we have these multiple selectors together, right? So in that case, who will get the priority high, who will get the low priority, likewise, right? And later on, like after this combinator part is done, I will show you that we can override, right? Sometimes we can override this selector type, right? This priority, we can slightly override that as well, right? So we'll look at once we know the descendant combinator, right? Because I need the descendant combinator to be teach you first, and after that we can consider that as well.